Hi, welcome to the Village of Buchanan, July 2nd, 2024 meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have a large group in the audience this evening and a short agenda. So, first thing is to approve the minutes. Hold on. I have them here. Not to worry. Did have them here. I apologize. Cindy.
May 28th workshop.
Okay, you put them online. I did quickly look at them. Okay, does that Okay. Does anybody have any comments or questions or additions or on the May 28th meeting?
I'm good.
Okay, we're all good?
I'm good.
I'm good.
All right, on a motion to approve May 28th meeting, can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next is, we're going to discuss the roadway improvement project. We have our engineer, George Palmer, on Zoom.
Excuse me, did you want to do comments from the
Oh,
board?
sorry. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you. I was more concerned with the minutes, but thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Cindy works hard on those minutes. I didn't want to skip that. So, comments from the floor, agenda items only.
Hello. Thank you for seeing me, Mayor Knickerbocker, Board of Trustees. My name is Paul Woolver. I'm the CertainTeed plant manager. As you can see, we're very interested in the agenda tonight. It has to do with the zoning. We saw this late this afternoon. It's the first time that we got to look at it. We're still trying to go through it. I just want to say, I really hope, we're very interested. We're an interested party. We want to be involved in this. I just would like to understand it and be able to talk to you about it before we do anything here, because this is a lot of people we're talking about with jobs. Thank you.
So, Paul, just so you know, tonight, the only thing we're doing this evening is we are going to, our intent to be the lead agency, the board. So there is a process and there'll be a public hearing and there'll be documents that you'll be able to access. So this is just the very preliminary. We'll be talking about that whole site, not only yours, but the Indian Point site. And so this is just the very beginning of the process. So the only thing we're doing tonight is we're announcing that we would be lead agency for the zoning on that.
Understand. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so there'll be no decisions tonight other than the board becoming lead agency.
Can we talk about that as well?
About us becoming the lead agency?
About a lot of it. Hang on, I'll let.
Yeah.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Here as part of the public comments. My name is Anthony Mirando. I'm an attorney with Cuddy and Fader. We're land use counsel for CertainTeed in the plant in your village. You've seen me before. We've been coming before you for a couple of years and trying to be part of the process of a potential zoning of that site. I think following up on Paul's comments, what I think he was asking you to consider is whether the board should move forward with this first action tonight. And part of that is, from our perspective, we've been trying to stay involved, but only seeing the documents. I literally saw them just before I got here, and hoping to have an opportunity to maybe weigh in as a critically interested party in this process. We're one of the key property owners in that area. Before it goes out to the agencies was what we were hoping for. There's from a procedural standpoint, I'm sure Stephanie can weigh in and disagree, but it looks like, being posted this late could be a potential open meetings law violation, as not being posted on the web within 24 hours. But that's something I'm bringing up only in the sense that giving you context for us trying to weigh in on this before it goes out to all the agencies. That was what we were here tonight to hopefully ask for.
Stephanie, would you like to comment?
The resolution. When's the resolution? When was it posted on the website? Resolution.
Resolution was Friday.
Yeah, the supporting documents of the resolution were only late this afternoon, from what I understand.
And we did discuss it last Tuesday at our workshop.
Yeah. Yeah, we
The
saw
direction
that.
we were going to take.
Yep, we saw that, and then I think we submitted a FOIL just because we were trying to get our hands on the documents because they weren't on the web.
That's your decision. You can wait a week, 2 weeks, whatever the next meeting is, or you can do it tonight. I'm not concerned.
Either way, like I said, we are planning on looking at the zoning on that property. We intend to be the lead agency, and the decisions will be made after the public hearings and everyone has an opportunity to speak on the matter. So there's no decisions other than we'll be lead agency this evening. Is the board okay with that?
Yes, I am.
All right, that's all.
Well, lead agency, just not on that particular property, but the M1 and M2 districts.
I think it's just the are we doing both?
No.
No?
This is just
No.
the property west of Broadway.
Okay,
Correct.
West of Broadway. Yes.
okay.
We
My
haven't
mistake.
talked- yeah,
I
we haven't
apologize.
Yeah, we haven't started that one
talked- The
yet.
other one is-
Okay.
We got a lot going on here.
Yep.
Did you want to say something else? Because it pertains to.
Again, I thank you for letting me speak. I think the follow-up to that is that's part of the question is whether that portion of the M2 district needs to be included in this process, and this is rezoning. So that's partly why they're so interested.
I think that
Since-
parcel is,
Yeah.
the board will be discussing it further, but we're looking at an overlay district
Okay.
in that area for that parcel.
And again, I have
That will allow you to continue and operate your business.
they're very concerned with potential limitations outside of just calling it a special permit. I haven't had a chance to review the records, so I could be ignorant right now, which is dangerous for a lawyer. But I think part of the concern is there's other potential provisions that could really limit their operations and create significant concern. And by putting it into the waterfront as it is, there's always the chance that the overlay goes away, as opposed to perhaps in the future just extending the waterfront and leaving us as M2 for now if something was to happen. But the point is we were just hoping to have part of that dialogue before this all went out. But it's obviously the board's decision.
Right, thank you. Okay, under new business, George Palmer, our engineer, like I said, is on Zoom. We are not going to be awarding the bid for the roadway improvement project this evening for this year's road improvement. I'm hoping we can get to this sooner because pretty soon, because the direction is we don't want to be doing our road work in the end of October, and then the freeze comes or the ground gets too cold and we can't do it, and that's what happened to us last year. So the sooner we get this bid settled, the quicker we can have the contractor schedule it. So George, would you like to speak about the project?
So the 2024 road improvement project went out to bid a few weeks ago, and we've been in conversation. We had a workshop meeting last week, and we've been in conversation with the lowest bidder, and his bid is significantly lower than the second bidder, and we've asked him to clarify his bid and confirm his bid, and he basically said he has to get back to us. So we're waiting for him to get back to us. He said he'd get back to us next week.
Okay, so then we will be discussing this again at the this month's workshop meeting.
And hopefully we'll have that clarification from the lowest bidder, and hopefully we can make the workshop meeting a meeting where we can award maybe the second low bidder for the project.
Yeah, because we're at the end of July at that point, so got to get moving on that. All right, thank you, George. So we're going to table the motion to award the road improvement project for 2024. The next is George, our engineer, still here. We're going to be awarding a bid this evening for the Great Gate Valve Replacement Project.
Yes, we put that project out to bid. The last month or so, we received bids within the last 2 weeks. We submitted a recommendation to the village. It was only one bidder, Pizzella Contracting. He's done work in the village in the past, and we have no objection to him being awarded the project.
All right, thank you, George. So I'd like to make a motion toward the bid for the gate valve replacement project to Pizzella Brothers for the 2024 gate valve replacement project. And also, this will be a one-year agreement. The village may elect to renew the agreement for an additional year if agreed upon by the contractor. And George, I'm just going to read part of your memo.
Sure.
The work consists of furnishing all labor, materials, and equipment necessary to finish and install new gate valves, valve boxes, and covers, including all connection appurtenances. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, good. Gravel and fill material. Other related work shall include saw cutting, concrete and asphalt roadways, excavation, removal and disposal of excavated materials and existing gate valves, restoring asphalt roadways, concrete road base, curbs and sidewalks, as well as restoring and cleaning the project area in all accordance with the plans and specifications as directed by the village water department as part of scheduled work and or during emergency conditions. Can I have a motion to approve the Pizzella Brothers?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Teresa, before you get to
Yeah,
the next
sure.
item, if you don't mind, since George is here, there was 2 additional items now on the agenda. One is the update on the parking lot, Fast House parking lot. So
Okay,
we
good.
can go over that, and also he has an update on the last year's paving program and where that project stands too. So if you
Yeah.
want to
No, that would be
update on
great.
those two.
We'll finish with George first. All right, George, I know you sent us some information on the Fat Sal's parking lot, different schematics of different ways for the parking to be. And I think the board is in agreement, we want to maximize the parking, but for it to be safe and have a good flow.
Sure. Let me, if I can, share my screen. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we went out to the parking lot this past week. We took a look at it, and we looked at, before we started getting into the redesign of it, for what's out there. You'll note that there's a middle section of spaces, and there's spaces on both sides, on the east and west side. The middle set of parking stalls is roughly 15 feet in width. So the typical parking stall for the village is now 18 feet by 8.5. So as it stands today, the center island is substandard. And then we looked at the east and west side of the parking lot, and those seem to be a little bit better, but not much. They're 17 feet on the east side, and they're roughly 16 to 13 feet on the west side, on this side towards the residential property. So what we proposed in this solution, which is option 1, is 18-foot stalls, 9 feet wide, with a 22-foot wide aisle in between. That is very close to what you have in front of Village Hall today, except the aisle is 2 feet shorter on both sides. So on the left side of the center aisle and on the right side of the center aisle, it's 22 feet instead of 24, which is comfortable to move cars back and forth, to maneuver, to get in and to get out. So in this scenario, or this option, we show coming in from Tate Avenue, going through, selecting a parking spot right or left, going around, try to make the circulation a little bit more clear. It's not very clear right now. You could pull in to the right, you could go straight. It's not very clear, but in this scenario, we'd like to make it clear that you should go in straight, wrap around the parking lot, and then go out. And then the handicap spot is in the right, on the left-hand side towards the residence. That hasn't moved. And in this scenario, we have 21 parking stalls. And currently we have 22 parking stalls, but two or three of them, but two of them are substandard on one side, and the whole center aisle is substandard. And actually the width in between the aisles is coming in is actually good. It's 25 feet, which is down the center. But on the right-hand side or towards the east, it's roughly 17 feet, which is substandard. So the complaints about the maneuverability and why it's not working so well is it's not a standard parking lot. So that was option one. And then we provided a cost estimate for this option. And actually, to look at this one too, before I go to the next option or the cost estimate, we did put a wall in the rear of the parking lot. It does drop off 2 or 3 feet. I know that in the last workshop meeting and the workshop meeting before that, we talked about improving the grade because the last 10, 20, roughly 30 feet, it starts to drop off significantly. So to improve that, we have this wall in the back here. And then we talked about guide rail. We put guide rail around the whole parking lot to eliminate all the boulders that were on site. So eliminate the boulders, put in a nice wood guide rail, put in a wall, and then we came up
Thank God.
with the
get rid of
cost of that.
boulders.
Was in the range of, I believe it was $170,000.
I think it was 174, what I saw. So yeah, around 170.
So that was the first option. And then
And George, can I just ask, like in the back part of that, is the flow to go in on the left and come around
correct.
and go back out the same way? There's room to come around.
Yes. So we did have some directional arrows.
Where's the other renderings?
George, could you speak up a little?
Sure. We did provide some directional arrows. So people should come in through Tate, past the handicap parking stall, go towards the back and wrap around towards the wood side and then come back out. That's the intended flow of the parking lot. Was that the question?
Yes.
George, I have a question. What about the width of the entryway exit? Is there any way that could be widened?
So that is currently 22 feet. And we could make that slightly wider, but you can see the property lines start to become an issue because we're right up against this white line right here is the property line, and this white line over here is the property line, and we're right up against it. You know, the wall is like right on it on this side, and the wall is maybe 1 or 2 feet away from it on this side. So we could make that slightly larger, maybe a foot or two, but not much.
That's option one.
That's option one.
And you said how many spaces would
This
that be?
one's
Option
21.
would be 21 for option one.
21.
Okay.
Okay. Option two. Now we have option two. So this is diagonal parking. Again, same location to enter, parking stall, handicap to the left, circulation starting from the left, wrapping around, going to the right, and then coming out. So it would feel probably more comfortable pulling in and pulling out, but instead of having the entrance would still be 22 feet wide, but with diagonal parking, you can make the aisle narrower. So the aisle in this case, I'm going to blow this up a little more, is 15 feet wide. So that kind of narrows the parking lot slightly, and if you could see, it fits a little better inside of the existing footprint of what's there now. You're not pushed so close to the boundaries. but you still do need the wall in the back. We still put a guide rail around the whole parking lot to eliminate the boulders. But this area on the right-hand side, there's less disturbance. But you also lose 4 parking stalls. So now you have a 15-foot. You have a 15-foot aisle on this side, and you have a 16-foot aisle on this side.
And how many spots, George? On
And this
that?
one's 17.
So,
So this one loses 4 spaces.
and right now I think they have 24.
Yeah, so you're losing.
Yeah, we're losing
20,
spaces.
22.
22? Okay.
And then we have option 3, where we combined both concepts. Oh, yeah, I pulled up option 1 again. I'm sorry. Let's see here. This is
I don't like the flow as 3, but I don't know.
This is option 3. We tried to marry the 2 concepts of diagonal and parallel parking. Again, same entrance. Now we have parallel to the left. We still have the wall in the back. We still have the guide rail all the way around. But on the right-hand side, we made these parallel spots. It still gives us 22 spots. But this might feel more comfortable to people to back in and pull out than being all diagonal or all parallel. So just another option. And actually, this one actually adds a wall to this side, and there's probably an increase in cost in this one due to this wall.
Can you repeat that?
So there's an increase in cost in this option because of the wall that's required on this side of the parking lot. There's a drainage swale that comes right through from the Shell property through the site right in this corner. So in order to push that swale out further, this wall is required.
But what's the increased
Yeah.
cost, George?
So that wall is probably an additional, I want to say 30 or 40,000, 30,000.
Wow.
So in addition to the 180 that was in the other one, it's probably 210, something like that. In that ballpark.
Mhm.
So we try to give you a mix of what all your options would be for the parking lot. This is a lot bigger project than it seems to be, than we started out with. There's a lot of disturbance on this side of the parking lot to move it over and to improve the alignment. If you look at the plan very closely, you can see the white lines under the what we've laid out. You can see how far off the lines are. You can see the parallel lines in the back here are diagonal, and these are the two. This spot and this spot are 8 feet and 13 feet in length. So they're very substandard. And like I said, the ones down the middle are 15 feet long and about 8.5 feet wide. So all the options will improve it dramatically.
Yeah, the way it's looking now, you're right. Any option, anything will improve it.
No, it's bad. I parked in there the other night. It's bad. It's got to get done.
Yep. So George, there's no more room, and I know you said about the swale on the east side, there's no room to expand the parking lot a couple of feet either way. We're like on our property line, I think.
We're right on our property
Okay.
line. In this option, we're right on the property line for the residents. And this one, the option 1, we're maybe 1 or 2 feet. This one's about 3 feet away from the property line.
All right.
So we're right there. We've maximized our lot to.
Mm-hmm.
You guys know the village a lot better than I do, but I understand there's a piece of property next to this. There used to be an old billboard. So it's a small lot,
Yeah.
but if the board is interested, we can try to see if that property is for sale, and then you can add additional land. I don't know how much they want to sell it for. If they want to sell it, it's just sitting there vacant. So I don't know if the board wants me to investigate that.
You could check that out. I know they weren't too happy with the village. There was something passed where there were no more billboards allowed in the village,
Right.
and so they had
How many years ago?
3
was
of them.
that?
A long time. I believe Gary was.
Gary Bell
Bell
Oh,
was
was
okay.
there.
very,
Yeah.
a big proponent of
Right.
that. There was one coming in where, what's his name is now?
Pacific Automotive,
Pacific Auto. There was one by the gas station.
the old
And
Travis
there was
House.
Also,
White Street.
kind of like White Street,
And
kind
that's
of diagonal from Reggie Selk. So we had 3 at
Yeah.
one time.
So Cindy found the property owner. So if you want, I can try
Mhm.
to find where they are and see if they're willing to sell the property versus just sitting there. And it's a small lot, but that might give you more
Small.
flexibility.
All right, see what they're asking for. I mean, they have no use for it. I mean, this is what they do. They do billboards and they can't do it now in the village. So it's like really useless for them, that little strip. Okay. So George, what in your expertise, I kind of like number 3. But you know, the board will make the decision. What are your thoughts for the best flow and maneuverability? What are you kind of comfortable with?
So parking lot count seems to be an important driver. There's not a lot of parking on the road. This lot has got cars in it all the time. I believe one of the residences uses the parking lot. I think the one to the left does, but and other people use it. It's a heavily used lot, so I'd say either option that had the most spots is favorable. Either the first one, and then if you go to cost, it would seem that option 1 is the lower cost. So if you went by pure numbers and you looked at 21 spots and lower cost, that would be option 1. Option 3, which has a little bit better the diagonal, which might feel a little better. That might change if you decide or are able to purchase some land next to it. That might change. So if you wanted to do something this year, or if this gets pushed off to be another project in itself, I would go with option 1 just for cost and the most spaces. And the other issue with option 1 is it's got nice wide aisles where people can comfortably move. 22 feet is a big change from what's there now. So it'll feel bigger. Whereas option 3 won't feel as big, but you may be able to move better. So,
That's why we're asking your expert opinion.
Mayor, I would agree with you though. I was leaning towards option 3 as well. The flow just seems to work better.
And I want to let everyone know this is not Fat Sal's parking lot. This is a Village of Buchanan parking lot. Not only does the business use it, but there's other properties in that area that will park there. They cannot park there from 4 to 6 in the morning. But there are people that will park there, perhaps go to the post office or into the circle. So that parking lot is, as George said, very heavily used and not just by Fat Sal's. What's everybody else?
Well, I agree with Dan and the mayor. I think that option 3 is the best option, but I do have a question, George. The entrance to there is kind of a steep little rise there from the road to the park line. Is there anything that can be done with that?
So I'm glad you mentioned that. So this little box that we show right here, we and as Dan mentioned, we widened it slightly, and we actually lowered it so that instead of right now, it's the sidewalk is one elevation or one line going through here. So what we thought was, let's put a ramp on this side, lower it a little, make it a little bit more comfortable to pull in and pull out. So it's part of this plan.
All right, and we'll also be paving that hopefully this year. That strip coming into the circle. So.
Correct. All of Tate Avenue on this actually it starts, you can't see it on here, but the paving limit kind of ends right here because the traffic loop is right in here. So when the state came through, actually You can see it, if I blow it up a little bit.
Yeah, they
more.
came in a little further.
Yeah, so they're right here. So you can see where the yellow line ends. Because you can see it's nice and bright there, and then it changes. So this is where the state ended. Because their traffic loops, like I said, are through here. It's actually on this side.
I also think it would be nice if we can widen that entrance a little bit more too, because it is kind of tight when the car's trying to come out and cars trying to come in.
That's what I
Right
said.
now, I think if we can go a little further to the right or the east, whichever way that is, that would be a benefit too.
Yeah, I'm on board with Bobby on that.
So we did push it over. So there's a manhole here. And if you could see this is where it's entering now. So we pushed that over probably about 5 to 6 feet from where it is now. And that gave us this alignment over here. We could probably push it another foot or two, but that starts to impact this line back here. It would
Yeah.
give a little more freedom on this side, but and it doesn't affect sight distance drastically because you have a light here. So you have a controlled intersection. So that shouldn't be an issue. So,
Will, do you?
Option 3?
Option 3? Yeah. Okay. Seems like the best option.
Yes, safe for them to move in and out. Not enough spaces for visitors.
Yeah, the flow just seems
Yeah.
much better.
There is no flow right now.
No.
No.
It's kind of haphazard parking.
Mm-hmm.
the option 3, what it does is people realize right away that they can't park over here when they pull, and people get used to it too. They'll realize they can't pull to the right, and they'll have to go straight. It'll force them. So if someone's from out of town, they'll look to the right and they go, "Oh, that's all diagonal parking. I got to go straight, go around, and go in there." So it'll force people to go straight. It should.
All right, and we'll put some arrows in there.
Mm-hmm.
Good. All right. Thank you, George.
Thanks, George.
Thank you, George.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
George.
And then the next,
Paving project. George, you update the board on the paving project, a continuation from last year's work?
Gallagher.
So we did have a meeting last Monday with the contractor. Since then, the curbs have been completed. They have done some restoration work around the site. They treated this week similar to Thanksgiving because it's a short week. There's a holiday in the middle. So they did some restoration work, some cleanup work. Still could be better, but they're going to be out there again, I believe, tomorrow, do some more. And then on July 8th, they plan on starting the paving. So Monday morning, they're going to start doing paving on the site, mill the whole road and pave the whole road. And then they'll be going over to Henry. And I believe they're going to start on Henry. If they didn't do it today, tomorrow they might be doing some work on some catch basins. And according to their schedule, they should be completed by July 19th with all the work for the village. By their
how long
schedule.
will it take for them to mill and pave Gallagher? Because those people on Gallagher have been very patient.
So the milling should take 1 to 2 days and the paving should take 1 to 2 days. So it should be done by Thursday of next week,
Okay.
Oh, okay. It's not
Weather permitting. Yeah.
weather permitting.
Okay, good. Oh, they'll be happy.
Cool.
And we'll be happy.
Yes,
Do you have anything else for us, George?
I do not.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for zooming in.
You're welcome.
All right. Have a happy 4th, George.
You too. Take care. Bye.
Okay. So the next, and as I've said before, I'm going to be reading a resolution, but it's the village's board intend to act as the lead agency for a proposed zoning text and map amendments to create a new zoning designations. So I'm going to read this and it'll have all the information in here. Whereas the Village of Buchanan is a duly incorporated village in the state of New York and under New York State Village Law, the Village Board of Trustees, the board, is the responsible entity for amending the village code and the zoning map. And whereas given the recent closing and decommissioning of the former Indian Point Energy Center, IPEC, The village is desirous of providing the opportunity for redevelopment that is in keeping with recent development trends for similar Hudson River waterfronts located within the Hudson River Valley. And whereas the village board has commissioned the drafting of proposed zoning text and map amendments that would allow for a reimagined waterfront or would otherwise permit an existing industrial use to continue to operate for the properties located west of Broadway, the proposed action, and the proposed zoning amendments. Whereas the village board has discussed the proposed zoning amendments during regularly scheduled meetings. Whereas Article 12, Section 211-53 of the Code of the Village of Buchanan provides for the process and procedures for amendments to the village's zoning code, and a draft of the proposed zoning amendments, along with other supporting documentation, has been prepared for public review and comment. And whereas the village board under Section 7-700 of the New York State Village Law and Article 12, 211-53 of the Code of the Village of Buchanan is the only duly authorized legislative body that has the authority to approve the proposed zoning amendments. And whereas, a lot of whereases here, after review of the proposed action, the village board acknowledges that there are other interested and involved agencies as those terms are defined under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, or Part 617 of the New York State CRR, that should be notified of the village board's intent to act as lead agency. And now, therefore, it be resolved, the village board pursuant to Part 617.6 of the New York State CRR and 83-11 of the Village Code hereby determines that the proposed action is subject to SECRA and this is a Type 1 action. And be it further resolved that the following agencies identified by the EAF and using all due diligence are interested or involved agencies for the proposed action and should be provided a copy of this notice of intent to act as lead agency. Village of Buchanan Planning Board, Town of Cortland, City of Peekskill, Buchanan Fire District, Verplank Fire District, Westchester County Department of Health, Westchester County Department of Planning, New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, New York State Department of State, and the United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission. And be it therefore resolved that the village board hereby directs that a lead agency coordination notice be circulated among the interested involved agencies together with a copy of this resolution, the proposed zoning amendments, the EAF, and other information as appropriate, indicating the village board's intent to assume the role of lead agency for the proposed action under SECRA, and that a minimum of 30 days from the circulation of lead agency coordinating notice to comment on the board's intent to act as lead agency, and that any correspondence on this matter be directed to the village administrator's office, 236 State Avenue, Buchanan, New York. Before I take a vote, would any of the board members like to comment on becoming the lead agency? I know we discussed this at the workshop last week. Okay. So on a motion, declaring notice of intent to act as the lead agency for the proposed zoning text and map amendments to create new zoning designations for the waterfront development and waterfront development industrial overlay for the properties located on the west side of Broadway and also known and designated on the tax map of the town of Cortland as section 43.10, block 2, lots 1 and 2, and section 43.10, block 1, lots 1 and 2, and section 43.7, block 1, lot 1. Can I have, this is on a motion, can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So there will be plenty of time, public hearings, et cetera, et cetera. There'll be several more meetings like this. You know, this is just the beginning of the process. So thank you. And if you all leave at once, the room will be only 2 people left. So
Three.
oh, 3. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Mr. Ferguson.
Oh, no, 4.
Lisa.
And Mr. Bell and Lisa. Oh, and Steve.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, and Steve.
all right,
That's
sorry.
right, that's more.
There were more here than I thought. All right, gentlemen, thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for coming. Okay. The next is, we had a discussion last week at the workshop, and the board has decided to increase the lifeguard pay by $1. We had a discussion on this. We want to keep our lifeguards. Other communities, other businesses are offering the lifeguards more. So we thought it appropriate to increase it $1 an hour. So can I have a motion to approve the increase in lifeguard pay by $1?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So thank you. Information from officers and departments, justice reports. There are none this evening. Police report, Bob, that's you.
Okay. Let's see, this is for the month of May. They had a total calls of 211. 12 of those were they assisted some citizens. They had 2 arrests. They had 45 moving summonses, 39 property checks, 14 medical aids, and numerous other things that they do here to keep themselves busy. And I'm glad that they're here. I'm sure everyone else is, and they do a great job out there. That's it.
All right, thank you. And I forgot to mention, I apologize. Trustee Capicotti is not here this evening, so I will read the May 2024 Highway Department report. Household garbage, 85 tons. Bulk and dumpsters, 14 tons. Bag leaves, 4.47 tons. Metal, 2.26 tons. E-waste, 17 TVs. Monitors, 8. And there's just a lot of things they have been doing, like the pool, getting ready for the pool to open and the camp to open. Camp opened on Monday. So camp is moving right along already this week. A lot of maintenance. So you can see they have been busy. They have been very busy. So thank you. Thank you, guys. Wastewater treatment plant, treated wastewater, 8,847,000 gallons. Sludge removal, 97,500 gallons. Lab reports, Westchester County Department of Health and the DEC, there's 6 each. Let's see, May 16th, Hudson Valley Fire inspection of the RPZs at plant and pump stations and fire extinguishers. So everything moving right along there, which is a good thing. Building department, was that you, Bob? Was that a Wilda? No. Okay. I'll read the building department too. Sorry. We just got that this evening, right, Cindy? Wasn't prepared to read that one. Okay. Well, I'm sure everything is busy at the building department, as always. Oh, here we go. Yes, please. Thank you, Bob. Thank you.
This is for the month of May. They have issued 9 building permits. They have 14 inspections required for newly issued permits. And they, let's see, they have some compliance inspections for resales or refinance. They have 4 of those. They've issued 6 certificate of occupancies. And that's that.
Okay.
That's most of it.
All right. Thanks, Bob. Buchanan Engine, May 2024, 1 structure fire, EMS assist 7, automatic alarms, detectors 3, public assist 1, mutual aid 3, so total alarms 15. Planning board minutes from May 23rd, received and filed. Zoning board, May 15th minutes, received and filed. Prosecutor's report, there is nothing. Attorney's report, Stephanie, what do you have for us this evening? There it is, Bob, I found.
Just a brief update on the pilot negotiations. Marcus
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I had a phone conversation, can't see far with these, with counsel for Holtec. And we had a couple of additional questions that we had for them. And so they're doing a little bit more research for us, and we'll probably be back on the phone probably in the upcoming week. But we're close. Yeah,
All right, good.
we're close.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. All right, Marcus.
Just a couple of quick things. After the last board meeting, when the board discussed the crosswalks on Kings Ferry Road, I notified the town of the board's decision. I have not got a response back in regards to one way or the other. It's been radio silence since I let them know. So I'll let you know that I did at least notify the town about that. There was some question about creating surveys, so I had a conference call with Survey Monkey today.
Good.
It's $900 a year.
Mhm.
If that's something the board wants to move forward on, we can move forward with that. So, just for your guys' discussion to move forward, I want to do that. The WIA grant was submitted. I want to put that on the record. WQIP is due on July 31st. There's been some emails back and forth with the grant writer, myself and George, to finalize that, so we can get that out for the July 31st deadline. If you go out in front of where the gazebo is, the trench has been dug. The electrician is coming on Monday to run the electrical line to get that done. And then our DPW guys will be doing the footings for the sign, because the conduit is going to go into the footings and then come up to the lake. And then they'll be ready to install the digital sign. So we're very close to getting that done as well. So I wanted to let you know that's going on. There was a fence that had to be repaired down at the pool. DPW took care of that as well. DPW did a lot of work at the pool this year. We put a little air conditioning for the lifeguards that would dine in a little room, so we put a little air conditioner in there. So DPW has been very busy. As I said, Tony had done a ton of work, saved us a lot of money on the plumbing work for the boiler, for the hot water system. So he's going to be meeting with the contractor on Monday to finalize what the equipment is going to be put in, and then the hot water right now we have no hot water, but we don't need it right now. It's summertime, which is good. But we'll have the hot water up and running, and Tony has done all the work himself. With Peter, we're going to get the equipment and stuff like that. So that's going very well. So that's my update. I have one item for executive session regarding a personnel matter.
Okay,
Thank you.
good. With the WIA grant, I was on a conference call with Congressman Loyler today with other municipalities, and didn't realize, but he did a letter of support. So when we do our the WQIP, I think it would be appropriate to ask him for a letter of support also. We were fortunate, we did get a letter of support from Senator Harkam and Assemblywoman Levenberg for the WIA grant.
Yeah.
And speaking of fences, I drive around the village every day, see what's going on, and we really have to look at addressing the fence at the bottom of 4th Street with our pumping station. That's looking pretty sad. It's kind of beat up. So if we could get a price for that and the board can decide, where about? It's on the bottom of 4th Street. We have a pumping station for our that goes to our sewer treatment plant. Okay. It's on the left-hand side. I thought I was in the Bronx for a minute. Oh, did I say that? It's served its time. It's beat up. It's all cockeyed. So we'll take a look at that. And then the board can decide if they want to spend the money on that. With the Survey Monkey, we should be doing several surveys this year. One is the Recreation Committee. They're interested in sending out a survey to the residents to see what they might be interested in. There's other things that we can do surveys for throughout the year. So, it's not, the 900 is not just for the Recreation Committee. It can be for other surveys that we can do and see what the residents' thoughts are on different things. One of the things I wanted to mention, I just asked Cindy tonight, because a few of the residents have been asking me about our public access channel, and I noticed it's not functioning. And, I know Mike's looking at me. Oh, the cable is. It's just Verizon. Okay, so those people that said something to me are Verizon, because, we talked about putting Bob's idea of putting on the front lawn there, that we can put out notices out there, electronic notices, because we want to communicate with the residents, let them know what's going on. So, knowing that our public access was down, I said, well, that's not good. So, because not everybody wants to go on the computer after they've been on the computer all day. They come home, they want to sit in front of the TV with their popcorn and, see what's going on in the village. Okay, great. Oh, good. Thank you. Good. Okay. I saw Senator Harkam during the town event on the riverfront there, and he has told us that he has $100,000 for the village. At the next workshop, I would like to have a discussion with the board about using that grant money to paint the pavilion, because I think it's going to be difficult for our highway department to do that in-house. The more I thought of it, it has to be done. The more I thought of it, it would be done in sections and whenever they had time. And the thing that concerned me the most is our bucket truck that we waited so many years to get. I don't want to see that, by accident get splattered all with paint. So we will discuss that at the next board meeting. I did mention to Marcus probably about a month ago, looking at our back fire escape. That's something that needs to be addressed too. I think we were looking at that a couple years ago, but this year I'd like to see that get done. And the other thing is to paint the highway garage, starting to peel. So, but these are things we could talk about at the workshop. I just want to put it out there so that we're prepared to discuss it. And that the highway garage can be done in-house. That's something that can be done in stages. I also want to apologize to the public. Last week, we went into executive session for something we really didn't have to go into executive session for, but so we congratulated our building inspector. He has passed the civil service exam. He is now going to be the full-time building inspector. His salary is at $110,000. His father, Brian Cook, will also stay on with us. He will be working 17 and a half hours. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, he's at $56 an hour. Okay. Working on a lot of things. So the next thing the board is going to be working on or started working on is the 211 waiver for the administrator. For those that don't know what a 211 is someone who has retired from New York State and is collecting a pension. They are allowed to come back to work again. But they can't make more than, did they change it? It was 35,000. Did they change it to 50? I'm not sure. It's still 35. There was talk about raising it to 50. So you can hire people who are retired from the state, but they have to get a waiver that the state allows them to come work again without affecting their pension. So the village will be working on that. And I think that's all I have for this evening. And I just want to wish everyone a very happy and safe July 4th and happy birthday, America. Well, Wilda, what do you have for us?
I have a few things. So as the liaison to the schools, I first want to thank Jill Davis, the director of the Hendrick Hudson Library, Superintendent Trombley, and if I'm saying your name wrong, I apologize, Margaret Ruler, the Executive Director of Curriculum and Instruction, for always having ongoing conversations with me on how we can support the students that are new to the community as well as the parents. Some of the conversations that we've had are how can students receive tutoring? How can they be more involved in sports? How can students receive information about summer jobs since they're new to the community? They don't know. The parents want to know how they can be more active in the school system, as well as those that do not speak English, how can they receive ESL services? And these three individuals have been very, very supportive, and I'm looking forward to continuing my conversations with them. I'd also like to give a thank you to Alexa, she's the pool director, as well as Jacqueline Pasquale. The day after our blackout, I went to the pool to make sure that it was clean and safe for the residents to use. And I have to say that Alexa was already on board with the lifeguards, cleaning the pool and ensuring that the residents could use it in a safe and clean manner. And I think that that deserves a large thank you. Mr. Laker, I think at one of our meetings, you mentioned pickleball. I did not forget, as the liaison to the recreational committee, that the mayor has told me I will meet for the first time June 18th. I have gone out to the area where we could use for pickleball. I think that initially we were told it would cost maybe $300,000. So I'm looking at an effective low cost to start up with. And my ideas, of course, I'll share them with the committee, but I just want to share a little with you. I spoke to members of the DPW. We're looking at maybe starting out by putting tape on the ground and setting it up for pickleball, having the residents who are interested come out with their own racket and the balls just to see how many residents are interested. If that works, maybe we can move to having lines painted and maybe setting it up a little bit more aggressively. But for now, we're looking at starting low. And I'm not saying this is happening. Of course, it's up to the board. But I didn't want you to think that your idea had gone away.
And one of the things, the Recreation Committee, that's on the survey. So we want to make sure we're spending that money. We want to make sure that's something, that the residents want.
Yeah, and actually, I dug a little deeper, and I even found an instructor who is not expensive, who is willing to come out and teach us. I don't know how to play pickleball. Teach the residents how to play pickleball.
We got to get you with it, Wilda.
I'm there. I'm going to learn how to swim this summer,
Yeah.
and I'm going to learn how to play pickleball. But listen,
Okay.
we have to look for things to bring to the community to involve the residents more. And I thought that this was low. Not it's tasteful, but it's not going to cost a lot of money.
Okay,
But
good.
again, thank you for the idea. And as it develops, I will continue to inform the community.
Bob, what do you think? You will.
I don't have too much. Wilda, you're right, because I walk my dog every day right by the garage and all that, and I saw the guys working on that old tennis courts, cleaning it up. They did a great job.
They
painted-
repaved
They
it.
resurfaced it. It looks great. So, I don't see why we have to spend $300,000 to get a pickleball court. I think we work with what we have. So I think they did a great job. Steve's the one that kind of initiate those conversations.
Mhm.
So the only other thing I really had is school's out. So there's kids out on their bikes going back and forth to the park, to the pool. So just be aware that they're out there. And a little side note for me personally from the firehouse that we have our annual golf outing going on this year. It's September 6th on a Friday. I've done it for over 20 years myself. This year we're doing it in memory of a longtime member, Mo Merritt.
Mo, yeah.
So if anyone's interested in golfing, sponsoring a hole, sponsoring a hole or two, it's one of our bigger fundraisers, and we have a good time doing it. And we try to get back to the community as best we can with that money.
See me after the meeting.
Okay. And the only other thing is wish everyone a safe and happy 4th of July. Be safe out there.
Yeah, I wish everyone a happy 4th of July as well.
Okay, Wilda, do you know how to golf?
No, see,
Okay.
I know how to dance.
Poor
All right,
Wilda, she's
all right.
getting-
I know how to dance.
She's getting picked on.
And I
Sorry.
can sing a little bit too. I don't carry a great tune, but I can sing, and I know how to cook. I know a lot of things except
Okay.
how to swim and
Just those things. Okay.
other stuff and pickleball. But
All
we're gonna get pickleball in. You'll see. And I'm
Thanks,
gonna
Bob.
learn.
Dan, what do you have for us this evening?
Just a few things, Mayor. In relation to, I had a few residents come up to me and there's questioning the status of the cell phone tower. So do we have any kind of update on where we are with the cell phone tower?
My understanding is they're waiting for the lease. There has been some interest expressed by Verizon, AT&T, and Marcus asked T-Mobile, right? T-Mobile. So there is that we are working through it. Once the lease agreement gets signed, we'll be able to move forward.
Okay. And in relation to our Business and Economic Development Committee, made a little bit of progress. We have 3 people committed that want to participate in the board. I'm waiting to hear back from 2 or 3 others. And, once we get that committee together, I'll be reaching out with David, and then we'll, take the next steps as to the process and, begin the preliminary stages of looking into what we can and can't do. And then my last item was I just wanted to make a motion that to move this 211 process along, that the board review and revise the waiver that's out there, complete it. And if we could set some kind of timeline, parameters as to maybe everybody review it by the 13th, and then we can begin to advertise through either NICOM or GFOA for the position so we can get that part of it out of the way and up and running. And then post it till, I don't know, say July 23rd or
You're
the
gonna
next
have to
board
give it
meeting
a
on
couple
8/6.
Yeah.
And then, the board can sit there and review everything and make a final approval and we can submit it. This way we're not delaying the process. I just want to try and move the process along.
Okay, so I think I had mentioned to you, I have spoken to Cindy and, we have different places where we can advertise. This time we will advertise. And I had mentioned to you that I had called up the department, the Civil Service Department up in, that handles the 211 waivers. There's no meeting in August. So if we submit it in September, they'll have an answer in October. If we submit it in October, they'll have it in November. So that's pretty much the process of how that works up there. So if it's in the month before, they'll have an answer the following month. And I will find out what the cutoff is before the following month.
How long do we have to advertise for?
Well, you got to do more than a week. It's vacation time. People are out. So I know the board wants to keep Marcus Serrano, but we have to legally do this. The only place that it was advertised was on our website. So there's other places that we need to advertise. We have to interview. There's a bunch of questions that we have to answer for the state. So we will just go through the process and get that done.
So can't we honor Dan's timeline?
Well, I have to talk to Cindy. It might not go in until next week, most likely. July 4th is a holiday where we're going to submit it. So that brings us into the second week of July. Vacation time.
Just to clarify the record, I already posted the deputy treasurer job at GFO and NICOM is already posted.
Okay. And did you do that? That's the deputy treasurer job.
Correct.
Okay. So we can post it there also.
I have a question on this also. I mean, have we had other waivers a couple times? Am I correct? We've gone through waivers.
We did a
from-
waiver.
Yeah.
Marcus is here for 5 years. He came in 2019. Kevin Hay left. We appointed Marcus. The first waiver, we don't do this every day, waivers.
Right,
This is
that's what
new.
I'm saying. I
So
think
we
we've
did
done
it
that
the
a couple
first
times.
time. Yep, we did it the first time. And Marcus told us he knew how to do a 211 waiver, and I was given the form, and the board talked at the time, and they were interested in keeping Marcus, so the waiver was signed. We were never told the process of what needed to be done. So when we did it when we advertised in 2019, because Kevin Hay left, it went out and it was advertised all over. We interviewed a lot of people. And then we decided we would hire Marcus. So now the second time when the waiver came through, I was handed the form and I didn't know what the process was. I was relying on Marcus for the form. And so the board was in agreement to keep him. And now I'm just seeing on this form this time. So this will be, 2020 was when it was the first time. 2022, still we were dealing with COVID. But what we haven't fulfilled here is fully describe your recruitment efforts, such as conspicuous posting of the employment opportunity within the organization, public advertising. You must also post for a reasonable duration, explain how you determine the appropriate posting period. Fully describe where you post it. You must advertise for the salary you offer to explain why salary is commensurate with experience. Attach a copy of the recruitment announcement and advertisement. You must specify the results of your recruitment efforts and supply details regarding candidate responses to advertise, interview, and available candidates. So we are going to do this in the process that is necessary to do this.
Well,
that's
part of my question.
Okay.
Is that we've gone through this process a couple of times now. What's changed so dramatically where it's becoming what it is right now?
We're aware of it now. We were not aware
Haven't had any-
of the
I gotta
process.
clarify the record now.
We are
Okay,
aware.
but
of the
I gotta
process.
clarify.
Marcus, calm
Okay,
down.
no,
Marcus,
this is my career, and
Please don't get upset,
No,
because I don't know why you're getting upset, because Marcus, you told me
Go ahead.
that you're definitely getting this. You have connections up in Albany.
I've never had a
Yes,
discussion with
you
No,
have a hookup in Albany.
no, I've
So
never had
please
a
don't get
discussion.
upset, Marcus.
No, I'm not
The
getting
board
upset.
wants you to
I
stay,
want to
so
clarify the
stay.
record. I want to clarify the record. When you say
Okay,
I just
please go.
fine.
Yes.
When you say clarify that I just handed you the document, it was given to you for your review and your approval, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, it's been approved twice in a row. So
Yes.
you're making it sound like something was done incorrectly or sneaky.
But it was done wrong.
Let me
It was
finish.
done wrong.
Excuse me, it was wrong?
Yes,
Oh, it's
Marcus,
wrong? Okay.
we didn't
Fair-
do this.
Okay,
But you
wait,
knew this.
it
You
was
knew this.
wrong.
We didn't do this.
Let me speak, please.
Yes,
If it was
please.
wrong, it never would have been approved by the state of New York. Number one. Okay. Number two, if you didn't read it and knew the information, that's your fault, not mine. So I want to clarify the record. I did nothing wrong. You make it look like there's something wrong. I've never done anything wrong in my career.
I'm just saying we're going to follow the
You let
process.
me to speak?
We're going to follow the
You let me to
process.
speak?
I know you're not happy with us following the process, but we're going to do
Absolutely
that.
not. I've
We're gonna
always
do
followed the process. I just want to make sure it's on the record that I did nothing wrong, because
Mm-hmm.
you make it sound like I did something wrong. I filled out a document, gave it to you to review. If you didn't want to share with anybody else, that's your fault, number one, okay? And
No,
number
we should-
two, it was approved by the state of New York. So absolutely nothing was wrong. If you don't want to keep me, that's fine. Just tell me to my face.
The board wants
No,
you, Marcus, so calm down, please. Calm down, please.
I can't believe
Please.
this.
The board wants you. You know that.
I don't know how you feel.
Well, you don't want to know how I feel.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So now I know how you feel.
I'm discouraged about some things that have happened. I'm discouraged about a sidewalk that the village has to pay $50,000 for. I'm discouraged about a lot of different things, but the board is happy with you. You have the
What
3
sidewalk?
votes.
What are you talking about?
There was a deal, an agreement made with a contractor to put a sidewalk on Albany Post Road. And it's going to cost the village taxpayers $50,000, which didn't have to.
What sidewalk? What are you talking about?
You know what sidewalk on
I have
Albany
no
Post
idea what
Road.
you're talking about. The village, I can't spend taxpayer money on $50,000.
Thank you. Yes, that is correct.
So what are
That
you
is
talking
correct.
about? Put it on the record. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is you just made a decision and talked to a developer, okay, and without the board's knowledge, and you made an agreement with the developer reneged on that agreement, and the village still has to make the sidewalk, and now the village is on the hook.
Okay,
for
let's
the
clarify the
sidewalk.
record, okay?
Yes,
That
please.
sidewalk is something the DOT wanted to be put in,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And the developer agreed to do it. Now he doesn't want to do it, okay? But the DOT is not forcing the village to do it at all. It just creates an issue for safety concern for the people walking. I didn't agree to anything. So what are you talking about?
No, you had a conversation with the developer. There was a handshake that was done. It's something that needs to come to the board. You
No,
can't,
the
Marcus,
DOT
you
requested it.
can't you made an agreement. Okay, I'm not gonna,
Listen, Teresa,
Yeah.
do not
Okay.
put my reputation on the line, okay?
oh, yeah, no,
That's
I
right.
get that.
Okay.
My reputation's been skewed for the last year.
You created that yourself.
I did
okay?
not.
Okay, absolutely.
People that I'm working with has- what? Just stop,
That,
just stop.
That $50,000 project.
Okay, I hope
is
we don't
some-
have to do that sidewalk.
You don't have to do
You're
it.
telling me we don't have to do
You don't
it.
have to do it. No,
Okay.
absolutely not.
All right.
So why don't you talk to me about it before you start spreading rumors like you like to
I'm
do?
not, I don't spread rumors.
Oh.
I tell it like it is, Marcus. So anyhow,
Before what you do, I'm fine with
so
it.
anyhow,
That's today and leave. Whatever you guys want to do.
the board doesn't want you to leave, Marcus, okay? And like you said,
My reputation,
you,
I can protect
yeah,
right by
mine too.
May I say something?
Yes,
All right, so we're not going to get anywhere by bickering.
absolutely.
Bottom line is this. If there's a procedure to follow, we're going to follow it. However, I have questions. How many places do we have to advertise the position in? Is that up to the board? If one place is sufficient?
There's no hard, fast rule.
No.
You know, you're
Okay.
supposed to, put it out there so that you might get a wide range of people.
And that was really just my only question I was asking.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
so different from
now.
until now? That's
Well,
my
that-
only question.
So hold on, let me finish, Bob, and then you can go. Second, has it been posted somewhere?
On the village website, and I don't think there's too many professionals that will go on our village
It doesn't
website.
matter, but is that sufficient
No.
to you? But I'm asking legally, is that
The
sufficient?
way I read the application,
Yes.
what they ask for is the projected what's the name? How many people, the circulation, how many people you'll get it out to? And
All
then how many responses you got back, if any.
Okay.
And if you get some back, resumes, did you interview?
Okay.
It's not saying you have to interview. You might get resumes of people that are completely unqualified.
Correct.
If you do interview and you choose not to hire them, you
Mhm.
know, you sort of say they were not qualified. They don't have the experience. But there is a process.
So
And Bob, to your point about the
Mhm.
other years, I mean, I didn't know it was signed and sent personally,
Mhm.
or I would have said we have to go through the process. Like
Okay,
it just
so-
didn't go through the process.
at this
Well-
point, since we have to advertise in more than one area, can we get the ball rolling tomorrow?
Yeah, well, Dan mentioned
That's
these places are-
that's exactly why I brought this up tonight, because
Can we?
it seems like
Okay.
things we get stuck. We need to move forward.
Yes.
This should be posted. Let's at least do the posting. Get that part of it out of the way. Let's set some kind of a parameter so that we don't put ourselves in a position and put the village in a position where we're left with no village administrator.
Which is
That's
crucial.
why I want to move the process along. Now,
Okay.
my understanding is that in 2019, there was a resolution.
Dan, I don't know. Okay, I don't remember.
There was
Was there- Okay, great.
There was a resolution.
Because we lost what our previous administrator, and then the board did that. So after that, but I'd like to follow the process.
So,
And Cindy has been busy, tax collection. You know, Cindy's the village clerk, so it's going to go through Cindy. Sharon
Can
has
you do
been
it
around.
tomorrow?
All
Okay.
right, so
And you're
good.
busy, do it
Okay.
tomorrow.
So
Okay.
Sharon
So-
comes back
so we don't
tomorrow.
have
It's
this.
a week today, Dan. It's a week today.
a week
Sharon-
in my book, okay,
that's
is
even
a week too long.
But
I'm
Cindy
sorry.
can post tomorrow. She says
We
you can do
had
it
this
tomorrow.
discussion a week ago,
I know.
okay? In the business world that I work in, I can't tell somebody I'll get back to you in a week.
No, not at all.
It doesn't work that way.
This isn't the business world. This is the municipal world.
Well, guess what?
Yeah. Okay, then fine. Dan, relax. You know,
I
he
am-
said he has a hook.
I
This
am relaxed.
Marcus
What?
will get the position.
What?
Let's stop.
No,
Let's
that's not a
stop.
fair statement.
Cindy,
Say-
please, do you think you can do it tomorrow so we can
Did I
stop?
say
getting-
anything wrong?
Okay,
I want
great.
to put on,
Thank
I want to put on the
you.
record, I have no hook.
Okay.
I have a reputation in the state of
Okay.
New York, but I have no hook. So again,
Okay.
please watch
All
what you
right.
say.
So I will, that's what I was told. So I'm only saying what I was told. So,
Well, who told you?
So
All
in
right.
2022, there should have been a resolution just like there was in 2019, is my understanding.
Yep.
And there wasn't.
all right. So,
So
we
I
did
just
it-
want to
we
make
did it
sure
once.
we follow
Yeah,
protocol.
absolutely. That's all
And
we're
we
saying,
move
Dan.
and we move the ball.
That's fine. That's
my,
all we're doing. Dan, that's all we're doing. And I would like to say something to the board. I think we need to just change up the application, the wording a little bit, because it starts at 70,000. Marcus on January 1st will be making 116,000. So I would like to change that up a little bit, from 70,000 to 100,000 to, where it says 103. So I'd like to just put the salary change from 100,000 to 116, if that's okay with the board.
That's what you'll be making?
January
Then
1st, right.
change it.
well, if you're hiring somebody, if somebody with less experience is coming in, why would they come in at the same salary as Marcus?
Well, that would be the board's decision.
So then why would
might
you
get
post it?
somebody.
Why would you post it at a higher salary?
That would be the board's decision. So
Mm.
is the board not happy with the 116? How do you know you're not going to get somebody with the same experience? But let's go back to this. The board wants Marcus. So I guess it doesn't matter what the salary thing is. That's fine. That's fine. So we'll keep it, Cindy, at the 70 to 103. Okay. And whatever happened in the past, I was explained, this was the 211 waiver. This is what it looked like. We did it in 2019. When we do the next waiver, if you'd like to do by resolution, more than happy to do this. But, you know, we didn't do 211 waivers every day here. This was something new for the Village of Buchanan. We used to hire people that, you know, had experience and were looking for a career.
I think it should be by a resolution. This way the
Okay.
board knows exactly what's in there.
That's fine.
Thank you.
We'll do that. Okay.
That's all I have.
All right, great. Thank you. So, any comments from the floor? Mr. Bell, how are you? Thank you for becoming involved. I said last month, you and Lisa were at the Decommissioning Oversight Board meeting, and I really appreciated your input.
You're welcome.
with
Thank you.
that.
I had a long career there, and it's like it's heartbreaking the whole thing, but got to move on, right?
I know.
And do what's next. But I had two things, but one thing I had with the engineer's drawing of the parking lot, I think the handicap spot, the lined rectangle needs to move to the other side because the usually handicap vans are passenger side exits and entries. So I think that just has to be moved. That's just one thing I noticed looking at the drawings.
Good point. No, that's a good point.
The other thing I had was you guys were discussing the problem with people parking at the corners. And not only is a problem parking like overnight and stuff like that or during the day, it's also a problem with parents picking up their kids from the school bus. They drive there, they park right at the edge of the intersection, and it's a hassle there too. And I heard you guys kick around some ideas. And, I drove out to the circle and the curbs there are painted yellow. And nobody parks there. So I don't think we need to put signs all over the village.
Yeah, we weren't looking to do
Right.
signs in the end. It was.
Or
I
just,
think that was something
Yeah.
that was discussed, if I remember. You
It
said something
started,
about
yeah, we
painting
started like
curbs.
with signs, but then we didn't want like the eyesore of signs all over the
Yeah.
place.
That's good. So either paint them yellow or paint them red. I mean,
Mm.
that's another idea I had, but I'm not looking for any answers, but just some suggestions.
Oh, those are good thoughts.
The other thing I had was, I know Teresa, I've talked about this in the past, and a couple other board members too, is getting whatever you want to call it, a bike path, a pedestrian path on Tate Avenue.
Yeah.
And I heard Anthony mention that, I think it was last meeting or a workshop that people are out now walking dogs and whatever, moving around and stuff. And for me, I'm out there all the time. It's a real problem. We have a great sidewalk from 6th Street and Verplank all the way around to get up by the library there, right? Then it comes on Tate ends until you get in front of the village hall here, and it's back again.
Yeah.
And then down the staircase entrance to BV, right? You got that there, and then there's nothing till you get back down to just past the entrance of the school.
Albany Post, yeah.
Somebody
So-
did mention about Westchester Avenue, that curb across from where the staircase comes down from the steps, how kind of dangerous it is there.
Yeah. So I'm just, just some suggestions. I mean, I think like instead of putting curbs in, I think it'd be a lot cheaper and more effective maybe to put like type of bike lane or pedestrian lane in. That's all.
And you must have talked to Nick Zachary.
Excuse me.
What's that?
You must have talked to Nick Zachary because he was hot on doing that on
Oh,
Tate
was it?
Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we talked about, there's only one car you can park on the side of the road on Tate Avenue because otherwise it gets a little dangerous there.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
part of that. I know part of the conversation that came up when Nick Zachary was talking about that was that a bike lane has to be 5 feet wide. The road's 25 feet wide, so it brought up all these other issues that came along.
Yeah.
with it. In the dream world here, I'd love to have sidewalks on all these streets.
Yeah, no, me too.
Even if we do piece at a time, every
Yeah.
year, throw a couple, some money and just do it. I think that you brought. I was thinking about that today. I talked to my wife about that actually by BV School. We have a sidewalk all the way from the circle to the parking lot, the village pool. We just need to get from there to BV entrance, and we're all the way down to the Verplank line.
Right.
So that might be something that maybe we can look at
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
something like that. It's a tight curve there, but it has to be cleared out on the bank.
Right.
That would continue all the way down to the Verplank line from the circle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just a
no,
couple
no,
suggestions,
good.
Yeah.
Not
No,
looking
thank
for-
you.
Not looking for any answers. Just
I love
you guys know I'm out there a lot, and
Oh yeah.
and
See you.
and along with sidewalks, can we enforce not parking on sidewalks?
Oh.
Not only here, the other places I go to, it's a problem.
Yeah, that's not a parking
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah. That's it. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you. And you know what? I really appreciate you coming in and talking to the board and coming up with your ideas. I just think more people need to get involved in the village. There's a lot going on, and I think people really need to know what's going on. So thank you. I appreciate it. Here's Lisa.
I'd like to piggyback on what John Bell said. I think we do need to get the cars off Tate. I walk down and around all the time, and it is just dangerous, especially if there's a car on the street. What I did want to talk about, though, is the park behind the village garage.
Mhm.
Is there any hope of improving that park?
The playground area?
Mhm.
Okay. There's a meeting, a recreation meeting on the 18th, and I have not wanted to put anything in their head, but they have, had their preliminary, I didn't want to form a committee and it's like all my thoughts. I wanted them to meet and work on it together. So what I want to bring up to them on the 18th is, I know, Assemblywoman Levenberg has grant opportunities, and I'm kind of hoping, if the board agrees, of course, if we can put in a grant opportunity to upgrade our playground this year. So
It needs it badly, and I do believe that parks that can gather parents together starts building community,
mhm,
and that's the
I
place
agree.
where
I agree.
Excuse me.
that'd be nice.
connections are made.
And we have a
Early
lot
in
of
life.
young new people coming in, a lot of young families coming in. So
Okay.
that would be great. Thank you.
That's my
And
thought.
you can come on the 18th, Lisa. July. Of July, the recreation. Yeah. But yeah, no, they have come up with some of their own thoughts, and they've been meeting, and they're doing really good. So thank you. Lee, we were nervous that you weren't going to come tonight,
Oh, really?
Yes,
Should've
we
been
didn't
at the
see you
Little
here at the
League game,
beginning.
But
We
I
got nervous.
forfeited that for this meeting, which was animated. Now I have to remember what my thoughts were. Reading the papers, the local papers, the Examiner, the Gazette, Somers, Mount Kisco are putting moratoriums on these battery-operated facilities. We've had two come before this village. They've been discouraged, but I'm wondering, is that going to stay discouraged? Forget about what Pete Harcum has done or what his bill is. Can we do a moratorium just in the event that they come back? I don't know how that works, and I don't know what the zoning is, and I don't know how that overlay is going to work. And
Well,
you
the
know,
overlay won't touch the area that was proposed, and the moratoriums are for a certain amount of time. Stephanie would know more, I think up to
I think
a
they did
year.
a year and a half in Somers or Mount Kisco.
And it's village wide. It's not like
Okay.
overlay.
Right. I'm just not sure,
Affect this.
how they come
Well-
before you guys, and you say, well, we really don't want that. The village not appropriate for the village. Thinking about Lens Cove property from Entergy and all the rest of it, but there is that small property next to Certain Teed
Mhm.
that could facilitate, a battery operated facility.
Well, I think that's where the 42-inch pipeline comes in too. So that would be a big no-go there. But you do remember, because you're involved all the time, Certainty, they wanted to put, originally, they were the
Right.
first one, they wanted to put it on the Certainty property. And the other one is they approached the school, BV School, to also put it towards the back there.
Okay.
So
So-
they're looking at different areas, and I
Right.
just
So that's
hope,
why I wanted to know if,
2 years ago.
if this is going to be coming up to us, can we put a moratorium or do we have to wait until they come?
No, you don't have to wait until they come.
You don't have to wait.
No. But
Okay.
it's also not a permitted use, so they don't have to.
Correct.
entertain it either.
Mm-hmm.
We can't hear you.
It's not a permitted use, and we don't have to entertain it.
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
not a permitted
I
use.
think proactively, Somers, Mayapack. That's because they've been there. Battery storage people are there.
Oh,
and they're
all
this close. Because in Mayapack especially, it was permitted. And so
Okay.
that was a bit of it bordered on Somers, so Somers got involved and told, our town, like, we don't want it. It's
Okay.
not permitted in our town. But
And I think
But
Mount
sure,
Kis-
I mean, if you wanted to do a moratorium, it's restricted in time, and it's not normally taken lightly. You don't just throw a moratorium up, and we don't want battery storage, and we don't want one thing or another, but we can discuss it.
But it's Marcus brought something up to the board. Con Edison is going to be putting like battery storage on top of poles.
Yeah, I saw that. That's the new thing.
How big are these batteries?
They're
I
like
don't know.
boxes.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
boxes.
If you
Kind
go
of
on
like a
Con Ed's
transformer.
website, you'll
How
see them.
big are it's down their website? Con Ed?
Yeah, about the size of a mini
Say it
fridge.
again? Like a
That's kind of
refrigerator?
big. It's bigger than a transformer.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So,
It's like,
so it's kind of circumventing, the battery storage, the big battery storage facilities. I don't know.
Okay.
they sent out a mailer recently. It had a picture of them.
Did it?
They are. They're like, they're not your double wide refrigerator in a kitchen, but they're like a
No,
small,
like the one on
second refrigerator you
Pacific
would have down in your
Automotive in the
basement.
front
They're
of
fairly
the
big.
property. It's like the one in the Pacific Automotive on the front of the property.
Yeah.
It's sitting there.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's connected, but that's not a big one. It's just,
It's a decent size. I mean, you're going to
Yeah.
notice it.
and they're putting it on the ground.
No, on the telephone poles, is my understanding.
Yeah, it's on the pole.
They're mounted right on the pole.
Like the Verizon boxes.
Yeah.
You see?
Oh,
They're big, a little bit bigger than that.
Mhm.
holy moly. Okay. Well, forget the moratorium. It doesn't make any difference now.
But to go back to your comment about the battery storage, from day one, I said it, and I would still remain staunch on this, that I am dead set against them. I don't want them here.
No, I'm not saying that you didn't.
Right.
I'm just saying as a village, can we, discourage or, keep them at bay?
Well, like
Big
Stephanie said,
facilities.
it's by permitted use only, so it would have to get
Approved.
right.
Okay.
But the concern was at the time, you are correct, Eileen, there was a discussion about it and it was going to be on that property across from our park. And there was a discussion, so it was a lot of concern at that point because I know several board members had mentioned, well, it's $4 million. It's kind of a lot of money. We need the money. And so it was a concern.
Right.
But I'm glad, everyone has seen the light that, look at the people fighting up in the Mayapack Somers area. They're fighting tooth and nail over that. And I hope
I'm
they're
even thinking
successful.
of the property that used to be Yorktown Paper used to be in.
Yes.
I don't know what's back there now. If it's still viable, if it's a viable businesses in the back where the battery place used to be and Yorktown Paper used to be. But I mean, that could be, a piece of property that would also be used for a battery storage right next door.
Right.
So, because it's just that kind of a use. All right, my last question is, have the trees grown up that high over Bertolini's and the
Yes.
thing
They
that
keep
we
growing,
can't
Eileen.
see from the Lens Cove on the fireworks?
I think where you sit in the parking lot, I think that's gotten a little more difficult, but I think if people move over towards the left, towards, in the grass area, that you
Well,
might
that's-
have a better view.
Yeah.
I was hoping Dominic Bertolini, before he sold, would take those down. So everyone knows, our park is open. Thank you, Eileen. You reminded me because I almost forgot. We leave the park open, Lens Cove, on July 4th. You can see fairly good. You can't see the ground fireworks. You can see fairly good the fireworks, the 4th of July fireworks. So if anyone would like to come over there, please bring your bug spray, a chair. And it's a nice group of people that come in after the fireworks over. Our police department lets us out. So we're not dealing with the heavy traffic from Peekskill. So that is available. Anybody that wants to come to see the fireworks on July 4th. We've been doing that for years now. Thank you for reminding me. I almost forgot. And some good points on the battery storage. Thank you, Eileen. Any other comments from the floor? If there are no other comments, I would like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss personnel. Thank you all. Have a happy 4th. And once again, happy birthday, America.
Happy 4th.